was hoping to get a little demo on this. I've actually created a controller you can see in the back there. It's a virtual reality module that uses 2 cameras to track the hand for mouse and keyboard movement. You can actually follow the hand up and down and actually can see mouse clicks by hitting the bottom of the board. I actually demoed it about 50 minutes ago in senior design. I got an A on that, so I know it definitely works. Unfortunately, right now, I think it'd probably take me another 10 minutes or so to boot it up, just because the only computer I was able to borrow from them is an old Dual 4 Pentium 4, so it's not going to do it for me. All right. So what we talked about, if you can remember before, we've designed a sort of 2D side-scrolling shooter called Viral Land. What the basic mechanics we're looking at for the game, you have a shield surrounding your character, and that's one of the main aspects of the game, is the fact that with your shield, if you are matching the color of the projectiles that is being fired at you, you actually will gain hit points. So you start off with only 1 shot, which means if you get hit by any projectile, you get hit by any enemy, you instantly die. However, if you are able to absorb other projectiles from people, you actually will increase your hit points and will actually survive longer throughout the match. And I'll demo that as well throughout in the game there. The scrolling and everything like that is accomplished through the XNA Game Studio. It took a little bit of time looking in there. It's a pretty nice system if you get to know it. If you're comfortable with C or C#, the class system works pretty well. You can generally describe exactly how each of your enemies needs to work. What I've designed for this game is basically looking at a wave type system where each wave you have a certain amount of enemies that are supposed to generate. After you finish off one part of the wave, you reach the second part and more enemies will spawn onto the screen. They generate in a small formation towards the top of the screen, and then we'll move and then use a little bit of filtered randomness. Basically, I give them the idea of where the player is on the screen, but then I have them select a random number generated around the player so that way they don't exactly attack them from an instant, so you do have a chance. The stronger enemies have a smaller range of filtered randomness, so they will more directly attack the player. And then we have different enemy types and such. So moving on from that screen, I'll actually go right ahead and describe the enemies and the enemies that you'll be seeing for one of our levels. Again, the concept of the game is Viral Land. You've got a giant internet meme that's become a sort of virus that's sort of propagates and creates the worst that you find on the internet. Some of our levels that my roommates will be talking about here are Ninja vs. Pirates. We have our celebrity Kanye West level as well. It's actually in production. And currently right now the one that we'll show you is our video game level involving such great video games as E.T., some of the Atari Space Invaders, Superman 64, and if anyone remembers Mario Land 2, the Mario game that wasn't when you threw the vegetables, that's our mini-boss for the game, or at least in this level. So we've got all of those. Each one of them has a definite enemy behavior. Our attackers, which is the E.T. and Pac-Man, just fly around the screen. They fire one color or another color type of shell, and you're able to absorb or go against that. They all die in 1 shot. Then you've got your basic ones that move forward. Their names are relatively self-explanatory. Your carriers carry other units, and when you hit them, they explode outward. Your seekers are the thing that comes out of the unit, and they shoot all over the place. Then you've got your bombers that just kind of sit and throw one bomb. They're really gigantic. We figured Superman would be a good one for that. The time predator that we got on there is the idea if you're taking too long in the level, you're just sitting around, it comes after you and starts chasing you around on the level. And then your mini bosses being of course, the frog guy I talked about, and then the main boss, which I'm not sure I'll be able to get to because actually the level 9 and 8 are pretty hard. The Xbox Red Ring of Death, which is a space-style Death Star. So some interesting mechanics there. So I guess I'll get right ahead and talk about some of the AI techniques we used. Again, as I was talking about before, most of our techniques revolve around finite state machines based upon where the player is on the screen and how much game time there is. If you have any development history in XNA, you'll know many of the things are done by sort of game time that elapses over a period of time, and that triggers events. So in a way, it is one giant finite state machine set up by the class system in XNA. General progression from one to the next. We have general flocking and formations in the beginning. Enemies will appear at the top of the screen and then move outward in a random generated pattern. Also, if attackers see you within a certain bounding range of about 40 to 50 pixels, or we set it up as pixels on the screen based upon the screen resolution, they'll immediately try and chase the player. But again, because of that randomness, they might miss and go left or right, which you'll see during the level. Past that, I tried to add some other filter techniques for the bosses, which you'll see for when I get to the mini boss, because I can definitely guarantee we'll get there. When you align with the mini boss, he'll try and dodge your shot because you can only shoot forward, so he'll jump around trying to dodge where you are. So again, he knows where your wire value is and he'll try and react off it. And he also has hit points, so he doesn't hit and die in one shot. So just a little bit of the techniques that we got there. Past that, I'll turn it over to my gurus here, I guess, to talk about the levels, and I'll bring up our demo on here.
Okay, I'll be talking about the video game fail level. That's what we went over when we first presented our game concept. Our protagonists would be Mario and Luigi. Just those guys represent all that's good with video games, I guess from Nintendo's standpoint. Some of our enemies are going to be the Atari ET, the one that we saw in the video that was famously dumped out in Nevada and buried parking lots over right now. Some of the Atari Pac-Man, which was terrible. As Neil said, we got some of the Space Invaders. The mini boss is from Mario Land 2, which was Mario Land 1, but with different sprites, basically. And the final boss is going to be the Red Ring of Death Star. Now, let Paul talk about the next level.
Next level, it's not currently implemented, but it's probably going to be by Monday. It's Ninjas vs. Pirates. So what I have as protagonists are, it's a character from a series of SNK games, and the other character is going to be a pirate, Blackbeard, and the enemies, they're just going to be random enemies from ninjas and pirates. So whenever I think of ninjas, I think of the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, the random teenagers, they got to be the trained ninjas, and naval vessels from different eras. Now in the news, keep hearing about small pirates, so maybe put in some newer ones and then some older ones from if you watched the Pirates of the Caribbean series and you know all the British vessels. And so the mini boss will have is the Black Pearl and a cannon fire coming from that, and so maybe I'll have some sort of ninja interaction with it. And then the final boss I'll have is Chuck Norris, because he kind of embodies all that's pirates being the beard and then ninjas with the roundhouse kicks. So that's all.
Alright, for the internet level, the mini boss is going to be Pedal Bear. Really? And the main boss is going to be Kanye West, the whole let you finish, and then that just won't die. And considering that Kanye West is going to be the main boss, the protagonist is probably going to be Taylor Swift. And there's a good list of enemies. Add the life bar, it's a trap. We're actually planning on maybe playing the Rick Roll song entirely. Just to screw people. Both Star Wars Kid, Ron Guy, the Overly Owl, and one of the original one was Dancing Baby. And the last level, which we haven't implemented yet, is going to be Twilight. There are a few enemy ideas for this. The main protagonist is obviously going to be Blade, and the main boss is going to be Edward. For secondary protagonists, I was thinking of having an actual vampire, maybe the vampire from Let the Right One In, because that movie is awesome. I don't know what the mini boss would be, but I'm sure we'll figure out something with that. Demo ready?
All right. So this is a demo of that first level. Let's take over the screen now. Let's see if I can actually center it.